All right, welcome class. This is a little review we're going to do here. Actually, all I'm going to do today, if you guys see, reviewing chapter 3, the test review. So I'm literally going to go over the test review worksheet that you got at home. And so now you decided that you're going to see the whole video at home possibly, or maybe just look at through the video for those examples that you really need some help on, or maybe a little review with. So I'm going to go through every single problem on here. So if you don't need them, move on to the next one. You're going to see a numbered page. Every single page is numbered. So remember, work at your own pace. Pause and rewind as you need it. And please, please contain all your excitement because I know how excited you are to be watching this math video. Okay, so we're going to start off with this first one right here. This is problem 1. Okay, so remember, as you're going, look up here. If this is not the problem you need, then move forward until you see the number that you need here, right? Okay, so we're going to start off with this problem here, guys. This one says to graph this. So obviously I can't graph this until I solve for B, right? And I'm first going to draw a line down the inequality sign. You guys know how to do all that stuff. So drawing a line down the inequality sign. I'm going to get rid of my -5, right? So I'm going to do the opposite here. It's +5, +5. This one's fairly easy. Now I end up with B. And on the other side, -19 plus 5, -14, and my same inequality sign, okay? And that's pretty much it. The next part of this thing is asking you to graph it, so we are going to graph this. Now, remember, what kind of circle are you going to use because of this symbol, inequality sign right here? The less than or equal to. Is it open or closed? Do you remember doing all that? So I'm going to draw a really simple, quick number line here. And I'm going to use a -14 right here. And just so that we know, I'm going to add in 2 more numbers. Okay, so we're going to say B is less than or equal to -14. So we're going to use a closed circle. And remember that I told you, if you're not really good at kind of knowing which way to shade here, a really quick, easy way is to kind of look at this right here. But remember, the B has to be here. The variable has to be first. But look at this here. And remember, I told you to think about this like an arrow, right? This thing is like almost like it's pointing this way. So we're really, if I was to put this here, there's your answer right there. It's pointing this way. So that's where you should be shading. You should be shading to the left. Okay, because B can be a -15, a -16, a -17, and so forth. All right, next one. Problem 2. Okay, so let's deal with problem 2 now. And let me take out a nice little nifty pen here. There we go. Okay, so this one says -8 plus 8 is less than -2, or, that's a big clue right here, guys, or -3a is greater than -9. So because this is an or problem, remember I told you when we were taking notes, I showed you what the or problems look like and what the and problems look like. And more specifically, what the graph looks like. Remember what picture I drew for the or? I'm going to draw it over here on the side. The or problems are going to have imagine this little picture I'm going to draw right here. You're going to have graphs that go opposite directions, right? So they're going to go opposite, this way and this way. And what was that picture that I drew of a person in a what doing what? Do you remember all that? Remember I had drawn a person, super quick here. Oh my God, this is really bad. But person inside a boat, and they had these things on their arms, and they were using those to get around. Remember these? These were the oars of the ship, right? And the oars kind of like seem like they're going opposite, right? Like they're going away from them. So I don't know if that helps you. If it doesn't, forget what I just said. But let's go ahead and graph this. Let's take care of this one first. Okay. I'm going to get rid of the 8 first. Line down the inequality. Okay, -2 minus -8, or -8. -2 minus 8. Do the do if you need to. Don't change opposite, opposite. I end up with a negative 10 and the greater than sign and the negative a. Okay, we're not done here, right? We have a negative a. Look at this. You can't have this right here. This has to go away. So we're going to imagine you have a negative 1a right there. That's basically what it is. How do you get rid of a negative 1 next to the a? Divide by negative 1. Divide by negative 1. A is something positive 10. What happens to the inequality sign, guys? I know you know. What happens to this? When you divide by a negative, you're going to switch it. Okay, there's that one. That one's done. Let's look at the next one. Negative 3a is greater than negative 9. Divide by negative 3. Divide by negative 3. What happens when you divide by a negative number? Switch the inequality sign, and you get a positive 3 right here. Okay? All right, so this is an OR problem. You're going to see why, because when we start graphing this, look, we need a 3 and a 10 on our graph. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a number line that's long enough for me to have a 3 and a 10. So as long as you know where they kind of go, I'm okay. You obviously know the 3 is going to be around here, maybe the 10 somewhere over here. I don't know, maybe put a 0 there, just so I know that you know what order things should go, right? So let's graph this one first. This one says closed circle. I'm sorry, not closed, right? This is open, open. So we're going to use open circle here. And which way are we going to graph it? Well, remember, it's like an arrow pointing this way, right? Because a is bigger than a 10. So it can be an 11, a 12, a 13, a 14, a 15, and so on. So I'm going to use open circle and shade to the right. And then the last one here, it says a is less than a 3, meaning it has to be less than, like a 2, a 1, a 0, a negative 1. Okay, so I'm going to use an open circle, and I'm going to go the other way now. There you go. There's your graph and your equation, everything's solved. On a test, I'll probably just give you the equation up here, and I'll tell you which of these graphs shows the correct solution. So you're probably going to have 4 of these pictures right here, and you're going to have to figure out which one of them it belongs to. So you're going to have to solve it first, and then check to see which graph matches the one it should look like. Okay, moving on. All right, it says negative 3 parentheses x minus 1 is greater than negative 3x minus 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and not graph this, I'm sorry, solve it. Remember, first thing I told you to do, get rid of parentheses, right? So let's get rid of this stuff over here. And before I do that, let's draw our line down the inequality sign. Okay, let's share the negative 3. Share it, share it. I'm going to get negative 3x. What's negative 3 times negative 1? Positive 3. Okay, next thing. Let's put all the couples together. Remember the couples I told you are like the ones that have the x and the number together, the x and the number together. Okay, let's move all these together on the same side. So I don't know, let's just move this one, or you can move this one. It does not matter. I don't care which one you move. I'll just move this one over here. So I'm going to do plus 3x, and draw my line, and simplify. Cancels, right? These cancel 0, and over here cancels 0. And so I end up with a 3, your inequality sign, and a negative 2. Okay, remember this should be a big red flag. Big red flag, because why is this a big red flag? This is a big red flag because I don't see a variable left over. Now I just see a statement. Remember, you got to be good at reading these. So let me read this to you, see if it makes sense. Is 3 greater than a negative 2? Does it make sense? Yes, it does. So I'm going to say this is all real numbers. Okay? That's it. You're done with this one. Okay, let's solve this one now. Oh, I keep forgetting to track the numbers, right? I apologize. We are on 1, 2. That was number 3, right? We're in problem 4. Problem 4 right now. Okay. So let's take care of this. Let's solve this one right here. Absolute value signs. Plus 8 is greater than 5. So guess what you got to do with this stuff right here before you do anything? I need you to isolate this, meaning get it by itself, please. That means that you got to get rid of this thing right here. So let's get rid of this part right here first. Line down the inequality sign. Minus 8, minus 8. Okay. Now I'm going to rewrite what I have left over. Absolute value, z minus 6, absolute value, greater than negative 3. Okay, you're done. But guess what? Big, big red flag. Why is this a big red flag? So look at this. This one says that the absolute value of whatever you put in here is going to be greater than a negative 3. Well, let me ask you this. Is there ever a time when you put a number in here that it's ever going to be negative? Like, even if I put a negative number, let's see, what if I put a negative 20 minus 6? Let's just see what happens to that. Negative 26, absolute value of that is positive 26, is greater than negative 3. Nope, that works. What about if I used, I don't know, let's go bigger, negative 100 maybe. What if I use negative 100? Negative 100 minus 6, and absolute, let's say that's going to be negative 106. Absolute value is 106, is greater than negative 3. See how regardless of whatever I put in here, it's always going to be a positive number? And because it's always a positive number, this thing is always going to be true. Because this side is always going to be bigger than a negative. So guess what you do here then? This means all real numbers. Okay? That's it. That's all you got to do. Look at this one now. Simple, right? I hope it is. Problem 5. Divide by negative 4, divide by negative 4. I hope you know how to do this one. X, switch the sign, and you end up with a positive, right? Positive 20, not 20, I'm sorry, what am I thinking? Positive 1, 6, okay? Done. Problem 6. Okay, got inequality. Looks like this is an and problem. I can tell already because it has no word. The word doesn't have, there's no or up there basically. Let me rewrite this problem just so it's a little bit more clear. It looks a little blurry. Okay, so there's your problem. I'm going to solve this. Remember what I'm going to do here first, guys? I'm going to draw 2 lines down the inequality sign because I like to make sure that I'm doing everything on all 3 sides here. And then your job is going to be to get rid of this 5 first because you want to isolate this c. So get rid of this 5 here. It's going to be opposite of plus 5, minus 5. And do that on all 3 sides, okay? All 3 sides. So now we got to simplify this thing. Negative 1 minus 5. Now if you're not good at those, remember, do them in a straight line if you're comfortable seeing it this way instead. And then do your whole keep, change, or do the do, whatever helps you. I'm going to use that. That's going to be negative 6. Greater than sign the c, and then the less than or equal to here. Let's see, negative 8 minus 5 is going to be negative 13. Okay, so here's your answer. It's pretty simple. Watch, here's kind of how it's saying here. Whatever c can be any number between a negative 13 and the negative 6. C though, look at one more time. C can be actually negative 13, and then it could be negative 12, negative 11, negative 10, negative 9, negative 8, negative 7, but it can't be the negative 6 exactly, but it can be a little bit less than that. Okay, that's what that means. Remember the less than sign? Okay, so how do you graph this? Well, there's a couple ways to graph this, okay? You can think of it like two individual answers first. Break it up. Write it twice. I use the C twice, okay? And so before I graph this one, remember I told you guys to flip this around, right? Put the C first before you graph it so it's easier. So I'm going to do C greater than or equal to negative 13. So there's one answer. And there's the other answer already. I can do a quick graph. I'm going to put negative 13 right here. And I'm just going to skip some spots, put negative 6, and put a 0. Okay? At the negative 6, I'm going to use an open circle. And it looks like it wants me to go where? It's pointing that to the left, right? So I'm going to go this way. And then the other one is closed circle. And I'm going to have to go to the right because it's going this way. Because it's like an arrow pointing that way. So I'm going to shade this way in now. So basically there's your answer. It's the in-between parts here, right? Everything in between here is the answer. Now, if you didn't want to do all that red stuff that I just did here, right? All the red part right there, you could have basically just known that this is an and problem. This is an and problem because the C is between here. It's between this and this. It's an and so you just all really had to do was put a closed circle at 13 and an open circle at the negative 6 and filled it in between, if you remember, okay? And problems always go this way like this. Basically, these right here are and problems. Or they could be this way, or this way, or this way, right? As long as it's less than, it looks like it's pointing to the less than side, right? You're basically good to go, okay? If you think you want to break it up first and do it like I did it at the very beginning, do it that way also. Problem 7. Oh, these good fraction problems. Don't you love these? Let's start by getting rid of that fraction there first. I don't like those fractions. Get rid of this negative 7 first, okay? So I'm going to draw is put a parentheses around this whole thing and this one over here. And guess what I'm going to multiply everything by? By negative 7. Now here's one little mistake. Please do not share this negative 7 with the x and with the negative 3. You're not really doing that. You're really just cross-canceling these 7s here, the negative 7, so you can cross-cancel. That's it. Nothing else. Because it's like a negative 1 right there, like, I'm sorry, like a 1, like a fraction, right? So you're just canceling this, really, that's it. And so all you have left over is the x minus the 3 less than or equal to negative 56. Okay? I'm going to add 3. Add 3. Guess what I'm forgetting? My line down the equal sign. Okay, now we're going to do is do a little bit of adding there. X is less than or equal to negative 53. Done. Okay, moving on. Problem 8. Okay, it says to solve this. Oh, I know how much you guys love these problems. Let me write it bigger. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, we got to get rid of these fractions, right? Let's get rid of those fractions. I don't want those fractions at all. So here's what you need is you need a number big enough for both of those to go into. Now, yes, you can pick 12. Yes, you can pick 24. You can pick 18. Why are you going to pick such a big number? Pick something super small, like a 6, right? You can use 6. Sometimes you can use the same number. So I'm going to multiply everything here by a 6. Times 6 on this side and times 6 on this side. And guess what you're going to do? You're going to share this 6 with everything here, right? So I'm going to share it here with this. And I'm going to share the 6 here with this. And I'm going to share the 6 here with this. Now, some of you don't need to do this step because you can easily do this step in your head and rewrite it right away. Awesome. If you don't, then do it again. Do it the long way with me. I'm going to do 6 times 3, 18. Over 6. And the x is less than 6 times 1. Okay, I got 6 over 6, x, plus 6 times 10, 60. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is simplify some of these fractions. So I'm going to simplify the red over here. I'm going to get 3x less than, sorry about the line, guys, I keep forgetting. I shouldn't forget, you shouldn't forget. 6 divided by 6, 1x plus 60. Okay, now I'm going to do is minus 1x minus 1x. Remember, because you want to make sure all the x's are on the same side. Don't bring this 3x over here, because then you're not going to have nothing left over here, and you're going to have everything over here. You don't want that. Get rid of this 1x. 2x less than 60. Let me write it right over here, okay? Okay, next step, divide by 2. You guys should know this. X is less than 30. Done. Okay? Okay, that's number 8. Oh, I skipped over one, didn't I? Number 9. All right, let's do this one now. We got an inequality here. Remember, you guys got to isolate this. Isolate. Remember, isolate means get it by itself. So get rid of the other part. Get rid of this 2. Okay, we're going to get rid of that 2. And how on earth do you get rid of that 2 there? Okay, well, that 2 outside of that thing is like it's multiplying with the x minus 3, right? Because there's no sign in between it, so it's multiplying. So it's the opposite of multiplying. The inverse is dividing by 2. Dividing by 2. Okay? When we divide by 2, the 2's cancel on the left side. So we end up with x minus 3 less than or equal to a 2. Now, here you got to solve it all the way, right? Because this is a negative. Usually when this is negative right here, that's when you have to stop and think about it. Is it in all real solutions? I'm sorry, all real numbers or no solution? But when it's positive here, then that's when we got to set up 2 problems, okay? So we're going to set up 2 problems now. One over here, one over here. Let's go to do that. One of them is going to be the exact same thing you see up there, right? Rewrite it. The other one, you're going to want to write the x minus 3 part the same, but you're going to, remember what you got to do here, guys? You got to switch and switch. So do those 2 different. Switch and switch. Now solve them. Okay, so we end up with x is less than or equal to 5, and x is greater than or equal to a 1. Okay, there's your answers. So really, this is an and problem, wouldn't it be? Because they're both going inwards to each other. If I ask you to graph this, I'm going to just do a really quick graph right here. There's my 1, there's my 5. Now the 5 looks like it's a closed circle, and it's going to the left. And the 1 is a closed circle, and it's going to the right. And there you go. That's your answers. Anything between 1 and 5 is the answers for this thing. Okay, we're at 10. Okay, let's see. I'm going to write the problem right over here so you guys have it a little bit bigger. Absolute value, p plus 3 minus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 2. Okay, what I just finished telling you in the last problem, what do you got to do with this right here? I know you just said it. You got to isolate it. So let's isolate it by getting rid of this minus 5. So I'm going to do plus 5, plus 5. Absolute value, p plus 3 is greater than or equal to a positive 3. Now what do we do? Yes, you got to do 2 problems, of course. Set up 2 problems. So I'm going to do p plus 3 is greater than or equal to a 3. And I'm also going to do p plus 3 is less than or equal to negative 3. Okay, let's solve them. And I'm going to do minus 3, minus 3. And we're going to get p is less than or equal to negative 6. Okay, so guess what this is? This is actually going to be an OR problem, right? Because if I was to graph this, look, you don't need to graph it, but I'm going to graph it for you. If I was to graph this -6 right there and the 0 right there, well, at the 0, looks like it's a closed circle, but it's going this way. And at the 6, it's a closed circle, but it's going the other way. So it's like the oars, of a boat. Remember that? So this is an or problem. So guess what? Well, obviously you have A, B, and C all have the word or in it. So duh, you got to have that. Now we've got to match it up. What's your answer? Your answer is... What is it? What is it? What is it? I'm trying to search for it here. Is it this one right here? Yes, sir. It's B. Oh, sorry. B. B is your answer. Okay. Almost done. For problem 11. Okay, translate the following. The temperature should be at least 40 degrees. So temperature, let's use the letter T, and let's use a 40. Now remember, I said saying that this needs to be at least 40. It could be 40, but it can be at 40 or more. So you're going to use the greater than or equal to. No more than 60 students can go on the bus. No more than 60 students. Students and 60, what do you use here? Well, can 60 students go on the bus? Yes, they can, but not more than 60. So you can have 60, you can have 59, 58, 57, 40, but you can't have more than 60. So the S part over here has to be less than or equal to a 60. Joe wants to buy raffle tickets. Each costs $4 and he only has 36. Write an inequality for the situation. So we have $4 a ticket and he only has 36 bucks. Okay, so which one shows me how many tickets he can get here? Can his purchase, can this part over here be more than 36 bucks? No, it can't. This part over here has to be less than 36, or it could be exactly 36. So you're going to want to use a less than or equal to. 12. Oh, don't you love these fractions? You're going to get one of these. Do not mess up on these little simple problems. These are super simple. Okay, how do you get rid of this fraction, the 5/2? You can do it in 2 steps. Okay, I'm going to show you 2 ways, but I'm going to show you the fastest way. Fastest way is to do 2/5. And do the same over here, 2/5. Just use the same exact thing that's over on the left side. Okay, you're going to use the same thing here, but do the reciprocal. Because guess what these 2's are going to do? And guess what these 5's are going to do? They're going to cancel. And over here, 8 times 2. Put that on top. 16. And underneath, put the 5. And guess what? That's your answer. That's it. Now, what if you wanted to do it differently? I'm going to show you another way real quick. You could have done it in steps. You could have done it this way also. You could have done, oh, I'm going to do times 2 first. Right, because this is like dividing by 2. So I'm going to do times 2 times 2. Great. Those 2's cancel. 5 is D is greater than or equal to 16. And then the last thing you got to do is divide by 5. D is greater than or equal to 16/5, which is the same answer, okay? Whatever you decide to do. I prefer doing it the short way right here with this reciprocal, because those cancel right away. 13. All right, let's solve this. We got to get rid of this. We got to isolate it, right? Okay, let's isolate this. Get rid of this 18. Remember, because we want this by itself. Let me highlight this real quick so you guys know I want this by itself, please. Okay, get rid of the 18. And the 18 isn't negative. This negative does not belong to this. The 18 over here is positive. So that's negative 18, negative 18. Okay, I'm going to rewrite your problem. Oh, I forgot something already. What did I forget? What did I forget? Right there. Write that down, please. Over here, you should have negative 33. All right? And now what we're going to do is, guess what you got to do? Got to get rid of that sign. Get rid of it. Remember, that's like a negative 1. I need to get rid of that negative 1 right there. And that's like multiplying right there with the absolute value. So get rid of it by dividing by negative 1. So I'm going to do that. Now what I end up with is absolute value, x plus 5, absolute value, less than or equal to, whoa, what am I doing wrong? Yes, I hope you saw that I'm dividing by a negative, and when you divide by a negative, what do you got to do with that sign? You got to reverse it, other way around. Switch it, positive 33. Now look at this, wow. I bet you were ready to stop up here on the other part, right? Some of you were probably going to stop here because, oh, look, that's negative 33. But that negative 33 changed because you probably forgot about this negative 1 over here. So I had to divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1, and then it turned positive. So now there are two solutions here, actually, two different problems you can set up, I should say. So let's do that. One problem, two problems. X plus 5 is greater than or equal to 33. And remember, how do you change the other one? X plus 5 is less than or equal to negative 33. Remember, one of them has to be switched. Okay, let's do the two problems, set them up. I'm going to do minus 5, x is greater than or equal to, that is a 28. And the other one is minus 5, x is less than or equal to negative 38. There are your two answers, guys. Okay, if I ask you to graph them, I hope you know what those would look like, actually. I believe that would be an OR problem, right? Because they're going to go opposite directions. Be careful with the negative sign. That's the biggest thing. On your problem on your test, you will have a negative sign. So you got to be super careful with that and make sure that you get rid of it. Okay? Otherwise, you're going to get it wrong. Okay, 14. Last one. Which inequality is shown below? Okay, so let me ask you this, guys. Oh, my hand just disappeared, didn't it? Okay, I'm gonna make sure you get this. What kind of problem is this right here? Okay, think back to the picture. Is this guy on the boat? Oh man, that's horrible. Hold on. Is this guy on the boat going this way and this way? Or is it the other one, the other picture that I drew for you? Okay, the boat is like the oar, right? You do not have oars here. So it's not this one and it's not this one. Get rid of these two answers right away. All right, now you got to remember, is it open and closed circles that you got to use, right? Well, look where the 2's at. On the 2, I have a closed circle. Which one uses closed circle here? Duh, right here, the letter A. It's A. All right, next one, last one. Write the compound inequality shown below. Okay, let me ask you this. Is this an OR problem or an AND problem? This is an OR problem, so you should have kind of know what it should look like. Let's go ahead and use letter X. Let's use the first one here. We're going to do the X for this one. This one's at negative 1, and it's closed circle. So I'm going to use X is less than or equal to negative 1. Or this one says positive 1, open circle, going this way. X, open circle, is bigger than a 1. Bigger than, that's going this way, right? Like an arrow going to the right. A 1. And we are done. Okay? So hopefully, guys, this helped. I hope it helped. And like I said, if you need to go back, rewatch a video on a specific problem, then go back, pause, and rewind. Do whatever you need to do. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. And if you still need more help, come see me during lunch, after school. You guys know the drill. Okay? Your tests will look pretty identical to all these problems, so hopefully you understand them really well. And hopefully this video helped, like I said. And that is gonna be it from me. Okay? Good luck.